Alright, what's up everyone? It's Mike D and I'm hanging out in the studio here, and today's actually my birthday. It's April 10th, 2017. I'm 37 years old, and I always like making a video on my birthday to share something, either music I'm working on or, you know, helpful tips or whatever. And I wanted to shoot this in the studio because I've actually just finished upgrading and updating a lot of stuff in the studio here, and I wanted to share some thoughts on some things that I find help me when I get into the studio world, and especially when I have a whole bunch of new stuff. Whether it's, you know, I bought a bunch of new toys and a lot of new sound libraries and some new software that I'm working on and just a whole bunch of stuff. And I thought it'd be cool to take a few minutes and talk about the process that I map out for myself when you could have all these things that are seemingly infinite possibilities. You know, whether it's all the sounds and all the online synths that you got, the learning a DAW, learning, you know, all this stuff. And I thought it'd be a cool video for me to talk about the process that I do so that you have some focus and you know how to make some progress, because you could easily get lost forever. So what I want to do is just talk about a couple projects I'm working on. I'm not going to go crazy into the techie dorky side of what I'm doing with them. If you want to know that stuff, you know, shoot me some comments and I'm happy to make more videos, but I thought I'd give you a cool little rundown of like what I'm working on. So real quick, I'll give you a quick span of the studio and just talk about the gear and some of the new stuff I got. So over here on the left, I got my my amp that was custom built for me, and right here is a bunch of rack gear. This is mostly for all my live recording stuff, a lot of mic pre's and a headphone amp. And you don't need to use that stuff much unless you're recording live bands, so I kind of got it out of the way. I really redesigned the studio to be more ergodynamic friendly and all that. So I brought down my full-size keyboard here, and then I got my guitar pedal board here. And so I run Logic, and that's the new, not new for me, but I definitely been using it, but I'm wanting to get to know it a lot better. This is a new toy, the Complete Control keyboard, which also works in tandem with Native Instruments Complete, which is a whole bunch of software for synths and all this other stuff. There's an iPad app that is Bluetooth or whatever, that runs with Logic, so I could use, you know, my fingers to kind of work on the mix there. And then I got this guy here, which is really cool. This is just basically a USB function, and basically I could turn it and you could assign the controls to do whatever you want. I like really being able to kind of zoom in and out, so there's some cool functionality there. Now this over here is the main interface that I use. This is by Apogee. I've always used Apogee stuff. So this is the Apogee Ensemble. It's got I think 10 mic pre's on it, but you could do 32 ins at once if you want. You know, when I did a lot more live recording, you know, I needed a lot of mic pre's and a lot of ins and outs. Most people just need a couple, but I really love their stuff, and it's also Thunderbolt, which is run by my laptop now. My guitar's there, and then the Dragon. And basically over here, you know, is where I have my computer kind of out of the way and so forth. So it's all run by a laptop, which are super powerful nowadays, so that's really all I needed. So let me set this back down, and I'm going to jump into talking about what I'm working on and some strategies for where to start when you have a whole bunch of stuff that feels like you could do anything with. Because you can, but you want to have some focus. So the things that I'm working on right now, I have two big projects. One is a song that I wrote years ago called The Storm. It's a classical piece. And when I wrote it, I've always known and felt that I could do a lot of really cool stuff electronically adding to it. Both for something along the lines of symphonic instruments, but also some digital manipulation and cool stuff like that. Now, it wasn't until recently that I wanted to take that project on. So the first part was learning and getting a whole idea of how to add symphonic instruments. You know, your strings, your horns, brass, all that stuff. And so the method I'm using to kind of just find a place to start is by taking a musical score that I really love and recreating it. Okay, and in this case I picked Pirates of the Caribbean, one of the main themes there. So what I was able to do is go out and find a MIDI arrangement of the song. And when you get a MIDI file, you can basically just import that into Logic, and boom, automatically you get, you know, all your instruments here. I mean, you're looking at the real sheet music, but it'll put a track for every single instrument in the score. And then you already have all your music programmed into the system. Because my goal here was to find sounds for all the symphonic instruments. So, you know, I needed to find a good cello sound, I needed a good violin sound. And I have this whole bank of software now that has all that in there. I just got to go through it all and find it. So again, a structured goal is, let me figure out how to recreate something that's already created, but use the sounds that I have available to me, and then by finding those sounds, I could program them in as presets, and then I have, you know, all my strings and all my symphonic sounds, so when I want to go to compose, I'm not spending a lot of time looking for new sounds. You know, I have the basic ones that I know I'm going to need to use already programmed out. So, you know, basically, you know, when you first import the tracks, you got these cheesy, lame MIDI sounds, and then you just kind of take each instrument one by one and go through your banks of sounds and find ones that work really good. You know, so real quick, here's where it's at so far. It's really cool to kind of, you know, just take this and hear it come to life. The other thing I do is import the actual recording of the song and sync it up to that, because that's the other thing I do is to make sure I'm really close to the real thing. You know, I could now play the live track right along with what I'm programming. You know, if I take me down, so I can kind of blend in the real recording and lay it over top of what I'm doing and hear it all come to life. So that's one of the projects that I've taken on as a way for me to first just learn sounds, you know, because again, there's just now an infinite amount. You got every sound you could think of after buying a, you know, a package of software, and then it's like, where do I start? And I asked myself, what do I want to achieve with all of this? You know, because again, you could just sit here all day long and just play with sounds and it's cool and fun, but do you really get to creating new music or what you want to work on? So that is one of the processes that I do, and it's been super fun. And now I already have all my sounds ready, so when I want to go work on my song, you know, if I hear strings, if I hear a cello, I have a cello programmed and I can get right to it and just start writing. The other thing that I like doing that might help you guys learn your DAW, which is DAW, Digital Audio Workstation. You know, Logic, Pro Tools, Cubase, there's a ton of them out there. They all do awesome work. They're all going to get the job done. It's just a matter of which ones you learn and which ones you like. So one of the things that I like to do, because they all have similar functions, but you got to learn what they are, and learning the hotkeys, learning how to navigate through all of them is what really makes your workflow easier and makes you be able to get the ideas out. So one of the things that I like to do is import a song or something that I really love and recreate it from scratch. Kind of like what I just showed you with Pirates of the Caribbean. The thing there is that I didn't create the music from scratch. I just imported the MIDI file, so the music was already in there, and then I just had to work on the sounds. This is a little bit different example where I wanted to get better at programming beats and have fun in the electronic world. And that was something I was never great at. So my goal was to take a beat that I liked from something I liked listening to and recreate it. And in this case, I took an old Crystal Method track, I think it was, called Realizer. And basically I just took an 8-bar loop and loop it and then try to recreate the drum beat. Alright, so here's the example. Here's the real track, just soloed out. So all I was trying to do here is I listened for taking out all the melodic instruments and just listen to the beat. You know, your kick, snare, hi-hat, you know, simple, right? And then I recreate it. So if I were to pause the audio track and just listen to my beat, alright, so there you go. And between doing all this, you know, I learned how to very quickly cut, edit, paste, move stuff around, trim stuff, combine stuff. Again, I don't want to get into all the details in this video, but the whole idea is that the way I'm able to make quick progress in this world is say, let me take a project and, you know, don't go crazy like the Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm just trying to recreate a minute and a half of music. Now, I'm not trying to do the whole score, and even the arrangement I got wasn't the full, you know, 100-piece orchestra or whatever, you know. And with this beat, you know, I'm just taking 8 bars and say, let me recreate those 8 bars. So now I could visually also get better at seeing, you know, what the beat looks like when it's programmed. And there's a lot of different ways you could achieve this, but I wanted to get better at finding cool samples, layering them in, and do stuff like that. And again, now if you can kind of listen to both of them at the same time. You know, if I take the track down, if I raise it up, you know, they're locked in. So again, just kind of sharing some thoughts on the way I like to dive into working in this world and things that I do to help keep me on pace with making progress and not just getting lost in a sea of, you know, sounds, technology, new stuff. I mean, I could simply spend all day long downloading new sound banks and stuff and just not make any progress. So hopefully that's helpful. You know, it's so cool and inspiring to, you know, have all these things and see them all in front of you, and, you know, it's super cool, but you also want to make sure that you're actually getting productive work done. So that's the other thing too. And just another note, you know, again, when I talked about the, you know, reconfiguring my studio, you know, before it was really set up for live performance. You know, I had all that rack gear sitting here, the screen was way up here, and I just didn't find it comfortable to kind of be here. You know, I didn't have a keyboard to quickly, you know, input ideas. And so all these things I realized were very tricky for me to really get in the mood to kind of have fun and get in the zone of production. And once I changed all of those things, it's just super easy now. I just, you know, everything's fired up, ready to go, and I could work and I could see everything and I'm comfortable. All very important things to kind of get in the zone of making progress and getting focused. So there you go. Just wanted to share that with you. Hopefully you find it helpful. If you want me to elaborate on anything I talked about, let me know. I love making these videos. You know, we can go inside the computer. I'll do screen capture and show you, you know, the production I'm doing and the techniques and all the other nerdy stuff. But again, just kind of a high-level, fun video to share. Hopefully you got something out of it. Leave some comments, you know, ask questions, share it, and all that fun stuff. And we'll be at you real soon. And again, the 2 sites I really focus on, superguitarlicks.com, rockguitarpower.com. They're both sites that I run and add as much content as I can, and hope to see you guys in there. And we'll see you soon. Later.